I can't say that. Hello my loves, welcome back or welcome to my channel if you are new. It is that time of month for our April wrap up. I read 11 books this month, 6 of which I had as a physical copy and 5 of which I read on my Kindle. I had 3 5-stars, 7 4-stars, and 1 5-star this month. That does include 0.5, so I did have a couple 0.5s, but I just rounded them up. Actually, I rounded down. This order is completely and utterly random. 2 of the books I read this month was the tandem read in Throne of Glass, that is Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn. I did film an entire spoiler vlog of both of these books, so I won't go too in depth on how I felt about both of them. Empire of Storms, I rated a 5-star. I loved the action in this book. I loved the characters. I love the relationships that we got. Tower of Dawn, however, I did rate a 4.5 stars. One of the main characters in this book, I felt as though, how do I put this without spoiling anything? One of the main characters in this book, I did not like some of the choices he was making. I found myself not wanting to read it because one of the people in the book is just doing something that I didn't care for. I don't know how else to say this. Throne of Glass follows an assassin named Celaena Sardothien and her adventure. In the beginning of this month, I found myself kind of creeping towards a book slump a little bit. It was very hard for me to get into anything. It was very hard for me to finish anything. So I went on my Kindle, I literally typed in novella and this popped up, and it's Stranded by Selena Winters. It was a quick Christmas novella. It had the secret obsession trope. I think it was con, non-con. I gave it a 3 stars. It helped me get out of my slump. It follows a girl who gets cheated on and she goes on their little vacation by herself, and the owner of the lodge has a secret obsession with the girl, and it goes from there. Next book I read is Saint, and that is the 3rd book in the pre-series. As of right now, these are the only 3 books that are out. This book I gave a 4 stars. The entire series as a whole has been really good. This was also my first MM romance, and I did really enjoy it. I think her books are just so naturally enjoyable. My Brother's Best Friend, Second Chance Romance, MM, Right Person, Wrong Time. Gabe and Elijah had been together for, I believe, a year, and Gabe was battling with depression, so he ended up moving away to become a monk, and 5 years later, Elijah comes to see him to tell him that he is engaged to be married, and it stems from there. I did really enjoy this story. Overall, the series so far, I think I've rated every book a 4 stars at least. Very excited to see where the series is gonna go because there are a lot of characters who have been introduced who we might get a story from. Next book I read is King of Pride. This is the 2nd book in the Kings of Sin series. Anna Huang, girl, your writing is so easy. I feel like I just eat her books up. The Twisted series, the Kings of Sin series, just eat it up. This is a forbidden romance. This follows a billionaire who falls in love with a bartender. I rated this book a 3.5, but honestly looking back, I would be willing to give it a 3-star. It was good. I liked it. It wasn't amazing. I definitely loved the first book, Vivian, and I don't know his name. I definitely loved the first book more than I loved this one. Also, I don't think Pride, I just feel like his pride didn't get in the way enough. I don't know. It was good. It wasn't great. I'll leave it at that. Another book I read was actually an arc received to me by Lila Faye, and that is Wed to the Basilisk. I rated this book a 4 stars. This follows another arranged monster story. This one is a human running from home, running into a basilisk who is the last of his kind. And in this world, the basilisks, if they don't find their mate in enough time, they turn into this feral creature and more basilisk than human. The MMC is just so loving and so gentle for his wife. She was in a previous abusive relationship, so it's very hard for her to receive that niceness and that tenderness without her thinking that there's something else underneath it. I really loved the secret obsession, how he was just pining after her, getting scraps of attention from her and being grateful for it. Oh my god, I cannot believe she's speaking with me. I'm so lucky. I'm the luckiest man in the world. Like, he was literally taking the little crumbs she was giving him and cherishing these tiny little crumbs. It was so good. I was eating it up. I finished this book in one sitting. I think it was like 150, 200 pages. I really enjoyed it. I really did. It was really good. Another book I read this month is Burn With Me. I rated this one a 4 star. It had the perfect amount of plot to spice ratio. I found myself gobbling this book up. I think I finished this one in one sitting as well. It was a very quick, very easy read. This book follows what's her name? Okay, Jenny is leading a double life. By day, she works part-time at a women's shelter and part-time at a restaurant. And by night, she works in this exclusive adult club. So there are different angels that represent different things. I believe silver is for like just talking. Gold is for physical contact. And black is all the way. The main male character is, I think his name is Jackson or Jason. I don't know, something with a J. And he's supposed to be like playboy of the century. He sees Jenny and all things change. He's like, oh, I have to have her. But Jenny won't give him the time of the day because she knows his reputation. That night, he goes into the club and he happens to see Jenny and he books her time out indefinitely, pays for her indefinitely. Jackson then pursues Jenny both as Jackson and as the person he's pretending to be at night. The story goes from there. I did really, really enjoy it. The third act breakup, oh my God, it was so real. It felt so much more realistic. It's a toxic relationship almost, but I really enjoyed it. I think a lot of the time the romances, the get back together part after a third act breakup isn't always super realistic, but I just genuinely felt like I was going through the breakup. It felt so real. I got this on a whim on the Stuff Your Kindle day, but I'm very glad I did. Next book I read is the first book in the Mindfuck series. This is The Risk. Everyone talks about this series. Everyone talks about this series, and it's about time that I start this series and I see what the hype is for. The first book follows a serial unaliver and an FBI agent. The FBI agent doesn't know that she's a serial unaliver, and she knows that he's an FBI agent, but she's like trying to lead this double life because she kind of likes him. She's like, he's different. And I haven't done my TBR video yet, so we'll have to see how quickly I get to it, but I'm definitely still thinking about the cliffhanger that the first book left off on, and I've heard that most of the books in the series, if not all of the books in the series, end off on some type of cliffhanger. It's a 5-book series. They're each like 150 to 200 pages, so it's not too long of a series, and there is a physical copy that has all 5 books in one. I'm actually really, really excited to see where the series is going to go from here, because how are you going to get yourself out of this pickle, you know? I can't say any more than that. Next book I read is Wretched. This is supposed to be Wicked Witch of the West, I believe. Not a retelling, but a dark romance using her persona. This follows Evangeline and Nicholas. Nicholas is an undercover DEA agent, and Evangeline is the daughter of a crime lord. I gave this book a 3 stars. It wasn't that I didn't love this book. I just feel like I had a couple questions that I could have asked and wouldn't have gotten an answer to came the end of the book. Like, it almost felt rushed. The third act breakup didn't have enough time to really simmer. And then we ended up doing this flash forward, which I do not like flash forwards in books. I don't. They are never, ever, ever, ever done well. I want to know what happened in those 12 months. There was one time I read a flash, The Kingmaker by Kennedy Ryan, which I did not like the book. Don't get me wrong. But when she did the span of a 10-year forward, we got little peaks of their lives throughout the 10-year forward. And I do love that. But skipping 12 months and not saying anything about those 12 months is super, super annoying, especially when there are so many questions that I have that will literally never get answered. I just think it could have been better. It was good, but I know it could have been better because Hook was better. Next book I read is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Story follows Pippa. She is a senior in high school who, for her capstone project, is reopening a case from 5 years ago in her hometown, the disappearance of Andy Bell. I loved this book. I did not see the plot twist coming. I thought that I saw the plot twist coming, but I didn't have all of the twists and turns that are actually included in the plot twist. I only had one piece of the information. I really enjoyed this book. I gave this book a 4 stars. Super excited to complete the series. I think I'm starting to find that I love YA mysteries and YA thrillers. The last book I read this month, and about time that I read this, I finally finished my read-through of Harry Potter. This book I gave a 5 stars. This has been my first read-through of the Harry Potter series. I loved the movies. I've always been a huge fan of the movies. And I felt like just reading these books along this journey has answered so many questions that I didn't even know I was asking. As I was reading these books, I'm literally like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. How did I not question this scene before? Because now reading it, I'm like, that clicks. This whole series has just been so enjoyable, and I think it really reawakened my love for Harry Potter, and it makes me want to read Manacled so badly, because Manacled technically picks up after this book if Harry didn't win the war and he actually lost. But I really did enjoy it. I really, really did. 10 out of 10. I'm so glad that I can say I finally finished the Harry Potter series. Okay, that wraps up the 11 books I have read this month. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Bye.